Hello and welcome to She TV, the place women come to become powerfully feminine from the inside out. And today what I'm talking to you about is that desire is not what you think. And whilst I've got you here, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe over here and click on the little bell icon because that will notify you of every time I upload a new video. Today's topic is around this concept that desire is not what you think. It's not what you think it is. It's not about thinking more. It's not about assessing or ruminating or chewing over anything more about what you think you want or what you think you desire. In fact, desire is less about what you think than anything you can imagine, okay? So, as I always say, feminine power is about what is happening from the neck down, okay? Thinking is what happens from the neck up. So feminine power and desire are intrinsically woven together, as intrinsically woven as you can possibly imagine, okay? Imagine, not even the right words to use here, okay? Desire, the art of desire, is at the heart and center of the 5 core feminine arts that I teach in the Powerfully Feminine Intensive, okay? But what I really want to impress on you and pass to you today is that thinking more about what you desire is only going to keep you at a very shallow level of desire. And in fact, I could arguably say a false level of what you desire, okay? Now I'm pressing this on you because the thing about desire is it's usually suppressed and it's usually been conditioned, okay? Let me say that again. Your desire, our desire in general, has usually been suppressed, buried, hidden, and it is usually ends up highly conditioned, right? So what does it get conditioned on? It gets conditioned on our upbringing. It gets conditioned on our socioeconomic environment. It gets conditioned on our education. It gets conditioned on our culture. It gets conditioned on our religious upbringing, okay? So all of these things, all of these things that I call the waters in which we swim, the waters in which we swim have highly conditioned not just our desire, but how you think you are, right? So this, of course, talk on desire is under a more broad topic about feminine power, right? And so the waters in which we swim are also highly conditioned on masculine paradigms, okay? The patriarchal world that just got stronger and stronger and stronger over time, whilst feminine power and values got more and more denuded, more and more buried, more and more suppressed, okay? Again, the waters in which we swim are no single person's fault. It's not even the fault of men. It's just an environment that over centuries led us women and our feminine power to become seconded, to become suppressed, to become more and more buried, deeper and deeper inside of our psyche, our consciousness, our body. And one of the biggest casualties of that here and now today is your desire. One of the biggest casualties is that your desire has become buried. So if I was to tell you now, let's get out a notebook and write down the things that you desire. Okay, if I asked you the question, what do you desire? You wouldn't even realize that you're going to this realm of conditioned and or suppressed desires. You'd basically answer an appropriate response. Something that has been conditioned on you, something that you have been told that you want unconsciously. And you may also be being told that you want that because, Well, it's safe because everybody else seems to want that. Everybody else seems to want a really good job or career, and then they want to get married, and then they want to have babies. And I'm not saying any of those things are bad, by the way. None of those things are bad or wrong. They're just highly conditioned, right? So what if instead I said your desire is held, trapped, buried somewhere else completely different than your head, than your mind? And for you to tap into, to dive into, and to discover your real desire is going to take a totally different process that starts with assessing the conditions, the conditioning of the lower level shallow desires. And if in fact we as women across centuries have had these things buried, have been told that having X or Y desire or thought or something deep inside of us is not appropriate, is not allowed, is not welcomed, is dangerous. Oh my gosh, just think of what you might discover. And what I'm saying is you're gonna need to go into the territory of the things that are hidden, unsaid, that you believe are not okay, that you definitely can't say out loud, and you probably have not admitted to yourself, that may render you believing that that makes you unsafe or dangerous, and that they might be inappropriate, that they might be unusual. Oh my gosh, suddenly we're in a world of a very different order of magnitude of desire that you need to discover. Now, why do I go on and on and on about desire? Okay, why do you need to tap into your deep dive level of real desire? Why? Why are we even having this conversation? Because it is in discovering the deep dive levels of desire that you also tap into the essential power source inside you, the power source of your feminine power, like the actual power source, okay? As I always say, in the Powerfully Feminine Sisterhood, we need to plug in order to turn on and fill up. Now, when you're not in contact with your desire, when your desire is at this shallow, conditioned and suppressed level, like the real thing is suppressed, you are nowhere near your power. I'm sorry, you're nowhere near your power. You might have intellectual power, you might actually be doing okay on the outside. You might have ticked all the boxes that society asked you to tick. You might be successful on paper. You might even have the handsome boyfriend who's also successful. You might even have the 2.5 kids and 1.5 dogs and cats. You might have ticked all of these levels that society has told you that you are a successful human being in your world. But somewhere, you know inside you that something is unmet, something's not happy, something isn't really deeply satisfied. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You know inside you there's more of you, a lot more of you, probably a lot, like a boatload more of you that is untapped, is unseen, is unexpressed, and that you believe has no forum in which to express itself. This is exactly why I've created the communities I've created, so that women can slowly go into a deep dive, and discover who they really are, discover what they really desire, want to bring out from deep buried inside themselves, their real wantings, discover their passion, perhaps their purpose, let alone this completely untapped resource of their sexual energy and their sexual expression, their life expression subsequently, their creativity subsequently. Now, when I talk about sexual expression, sexual energy, any of those things, they are the power source. The reason why our sexuality gets turned on when we actually tap into our real desire is that you're plugging into the very power source that can power you to get what you want, to ask for what you want, to express what you want and desire. This is why it's so fundamental. This is why it's so important. And the work on desire is a process. I just had a woman who is in my training, in the Powerfully Feminine intensive training, who's worked with me for about a year, and she said, I have just gone back and I'm doing the module on desire. I'm doing all of the exercises again. And I said, that is perfect. That's exactly what it's designed for. Because as you start to peel away the conditioned levels, you start to go, whoa, you start to peer down into this, what at first might seem like this chasm of desire. And yes, it is, because the thing is, we as women are desire creatures. We are creatures of desire. And when you start to tap into it, even the next level of your desire, you start to go, whoa, I want a lot. I desire a lot. And it's constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly getting deeper, and it changes. That's okay. That's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with the fact that your desire is constantly ebbing and flowing and getting richer and getting deeper. And then you peel it away a little bit more and a little bit more, and you go, whoa, I haven't even admitted to myself that I wanted these things. Okay? Now, I'm not here to talk about how to communicate your desires with a man or with somebody else yet. But this is exactly why I've created an international sisterhood for women to support each other in their feminine power as they're learning the feminine arts and skills. Because the thing is, we forgot them. We had to rediscover them. I know I went through a whole process of discovering of them because there were no mentors or role models out there. Every successful woman, and I admired them in lots of different ways, that I saw out there were successful through the masculine lens. And I kept going, something just doesn't feel right here. There's something in me that wants something else. I want something deeper and richer and more alive to be expressed in my life. Besides the fact that I totally burnt out on that imitation, that I imitated not just men in the masculine paradigms, but women who'd bought into the masculine paradigms, right? And look, it's fine. Anybody can choose to do what they want. I'm just wanting you to have empowered choice here, that you can choose to be in your masculine and you can learn to flow and be in your feminine when you want to. But it's a bit like walking around the world with like an eye patch on your eye and only seeing in 2 dimensions. So if we're only seeing through the masculine lens, we're seeing in 2 dimensions. And suddenly someone rips off the eye patch. It's like, wow, the world is so much richer in 3D. And we could even argue that it's more 4D or something. That when you dive into desire, you get 4D and 5D in terms of, wow, it's not just the joy of discovery of what you really want and really desire, what your real passion and purpose is, not what society has told you it is, or your parents, very well-meaning a lot of the time. The well-meaning parents can take people off track for decades, right? The well-meaning friends, the well-meaning partner. But what about you? What about what you really want and desire? And I can promise you, trying to work this out on your own, without the support of community, without processes that help you actually dive into desire sequentially, understanding what desire really is, understanding that desire is not just sexual, that desire is a whole world of things that you want, but also that you can't ignore the sexual part of it, or you're going to miss a whole big part of the picture, because culturally some women really are not allowed to go there. Okay, they believe they are not allowed to go there. So look, I just wanted to paint the picture here today on this fundamental topic that without it, without the understanding of the desire, without the diving into the art of desire, learning the spectrum of desire from the shallow to the deep, without having processes to sequentially take you deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, without a supportive community in which you can express these things, the frustrations, it takes a lot of courage to say, I have been in a world of conditioned desires my whole life. That's very scary if you're 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever, to admit to yourself, to go, wow, I'm starting anew. So you want support around that, right? So it's scary, but it's also incredibly emancipating. And we as women need to be supporting each other in our emancipation toward the feminine, emancipation toward our power, that we may have been crazy successful in this little bandwidth here, but I'm saying, hey, but what if we take this eye patch off and we include this whole realm of the feminine? You might discover that it's way, way bigger and that it contributes to what you've already done. We're wanting to enrich your life, broaden it, give it a broader, richer spectrum in which to discover yourself. Self-knowledge, self-experience, not just knowledge as in mind, but experiential knowledge, experiencing yourself in this richer, deeper way. And always remember, when you have the courage to go out there and shine, you give others permission to do the same. So let's go out there and shine this week. Bye-bye for now.